Okay, welcome to Chapter 3, Sections 1 and 2 podcast review here. We will begin in the left-hand side of the paper, Crystal Mystery. And your first item, what is the definition of matter? It's going to be anything that has matter and takes up space. Just a real basic definition there. What is a substance? It's a single kind of matter that is pure and has a specific set of properties. So as we have worked on our last couple of investigations, we've used a lot of substances. What unit do you use to find the mass of an object? And we had this on some previous quizzes and even tests. That's going to be kilograms, which is going to be abbreviated kg. And as you look, you can see the grams in here, and that's what we use a lot in our lab. Next up, what are some examples of physical properties? Well, first, let's kind of get a definition. It's a characteristic that can be observed without changing it. So it does not change. And we have quite a few examples here, some to mention: texture, temperature, you've got the boiling, melting, and freezing point, and even dissolving. What are some examples of chemical properties? Again, let's define. It's a characteristic that's going to give us a new substance. So in this case, we are going to have change. So if one way to remember chemical and change go together, you have the CH of chemical and CH of change. A couple examples: flammability, meaning it can catch fire, ability to rust, and reactivity to other substances. Okay, switching to crystal solubility. Which method is useful to separate items that are large? Really think about the 2 pages in our textbook that you read here. It's going to be filtration. Which method is useful to separate items that are small? You can still see them, so we're going to use filtration again. Now, if we have items that are invisible so that we cannot see them, well, this lab worked on that. So what was the process we used during crystal solubility to have those recrystallize? It's going to be evaporation. What is an example of a chemical formula? Got a couple of them here. H2O, C6H12O22, CO2. So as you see the way these are written, the numbers are what we call subscript. So they are below, and this tells how many are present. So in water, there's 2 hydrogens and 1 oxygen. When there's no number, that's just meaning there's 1. What is a mixture? It's made of 2 or more substances that are together in the same place. Soil, salad, sugar water, salt water, MSG water, Epsom salt water, all are examples. What is the difference between a homogeneous mixture and a heterogeneous mixture? Homogeneous is so evenly mixed you cannot see the parts, such as air in a trumpet. Heterogeneous, you usually see the different parts and they can easily be separated. A salad, you can pull out the parts you don't like. Concrete, you could break apart. What happens to a solute when placed in a solvent? The solvent, in this case water, dissolves the solute, which would be salt. Parts of a microscope. Okay, we'll start in the top left-hand corner. That's the eyepiece. The coarse adjustment knob is the larger of the 2 knobs. That moves the stage quite a bit. Fine adjustment knob is the smaller one below. That makes very tiny movements but can make a big difference in how you see and how focused it is on the medium and large objective lenses. Base is the bottom where the cord is coming out from. You have your objective lenses, the stage, the diaphragm underneath that controls how much light goes through, and then the actual light. Make sure you are ready to mark any of these on the quiz. They're all there, available for us to put on the quiz. Other tips, have some questions here in the book we would suggest you take a look at. Make sure you know the parts of the microscope, and that's located on the back of the study guide. Study with your parents. Don't study by yourself. Look over all the vocabulary words we have used this chapter, and make sure you ask myself or Mr. Cora to check your answers on your study guide. Don't forget My Big Campus, practice quiz, and discussion available. Take that quiz over and over, especially because the parts of the microscope don't all show up on one quiz. We're tricky like that. So there's parts of them there. You got to take the quiz over and over to be able to be quizzed on all the parts of the microscope, because they're not going to all show up at one time. Best of luck.